Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listen up. We're skipping the normal intro today. I'm not going to lie. We got a major hoot here, okay? A serious hoot. But before we dive into the hoot, I just want to say this is the first video that I'm recording in the new podcast studio, okay? I'm recording the normal videos here too. And I just want to give you guys a special thank you real quick for being a part of this and helping me get to this point and allowing me to have my own podcast studio, which is just badass, honestly. That's so awesome to say. And I just want to thank you guys real quick. You know, I love you guys. Thank you all for the continued support. Thank you all for continuing to enjoy the videos. My lungs have been hurting ever since I smoked the spray. I've been coughing up black mucus. It's been disgusting. You might hear it in my voice. But despite all that, we're out here, and you better drop a like on the video, baby, because we're getting right into it. So today's story took place when I was much younger, but the reason I'm telling this one is because I was reminded of this by the spray pack video that I just made. You see, smoke shops for a long time have always been selling sketchy stuff that'll get you high, but that's nothing new. However, nowadays, they sell like straight up weed. When I was younger, you couldn't really go to the smoke shop and buy weed unless you knew the plug was working there and you knew him externally. You couldn't just go in as a customer and buy weed. I had a homie who thought that he was tapped in like that and thought that he was getting real weed from the smoke shop, and it was not, but I still smoked it with him, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So for those of you guys who are maybe a little younger watching this video and you don't remember the smoke shop days where they were selling Scooby snacks and K2 and all that hoopla, gather round and buckle up and get comfy, because I feel like a proud uncle telling my kids about the time that I smoked fake weed from the smoke shop. So listen, I have this homie who we're going to refer to as Zach, and in reality, his name is way more ethnic than that, but like if I give any hints at it, there's going to be a lot of people who watch this and know who he is, and I just don't like to do that. So we're going to call him Zach for the sake of the video. Now, Zach was a good friend of mine. I used to smoke with this kid all the time. I did a lot more than smoke with him, and he was one of those guys that was just kind of friends with all of my friends. He was friends with Cody. He was friends with Michael. He was friends with Bob. He was kind of friends with everybody I hung out with back in the day. So Zach and I, we smoked together a good bit, and on this particular day, him and I had linked up because he had hit me up and he was fiending. He's like, yo, listen, I'm trying to sesh. Cody's not around, and that was usually how we hung out. We go over to Cody's or we go over to Michael's, but Cody wasn't around, and for some reason, I don't know, I guess he wanted to strengthen our friendship this day. Instead of go to Michael's, he was like, yo, that's it. We're kicking it, just you and I. And I was pretty down. I was like, bet, all right, I'll come through. So I hopped in my car. I went and picked him up, and I had a couple swishers rolled up. I had just 2 swishers. I went and picked him up, and he was one of those guys who, he always insisted on matching. He was a real good dude, if you smoked him out, he would really remember that and return that favor. It wasn't just like, oh, I owe you one, and then, yeah, you both laugh it off and forget about it, which, by the way, is totally fine. I believe weed's meant for sharing. All you guys out there, you should get your homies high when they don't have any weed. That's the whole point of getting stoned, that's the fun way to do it. But, this was the kind of guy who always remembered. He was like, yo, I really owe you one. I'm going to get you fried next time. So we're smoking a blunt. I pick him up. And we're just kind of cruising. He's like, yo, can you stop at the smoke shop real quick? And I'm like, yeah, for sure. And at first, he doesn't tell me why he wants to go to the smoke shop. I figure he's getting some wraps. He's got some shit to match. Yada, yada. It is what it is. So we're chatting a little bit. How's your day? How's your day? This and that. This is a long time ago. So I'm not going to lie. I don't know what the fuck we talked about. But a conversation was had. We're chatting it up. We're smoking up. And we cruise over to the smoke shop. Now let's take a brief moment here, because you know what you don't have to cruise to the smoke shop and get? The free 5 gummies with the right amount of milligrams of green goodness to get you feeling wonderful. You can get them absolutely free just by checking out the links below and checking out 5. Listen, you guys know 5. I've talked about them before. They're hooking it up with the beautiful, all legal, all natural gummies for y'all to enjoy, okay? They're free. Why not? Go check them out. This promo is exclusive to this video, so don't miss out. Check out the link below. Shout out to 5 for sponsoring. Let's get back into it. So listen, all right? We pull up to the smoke shop, and as we're pulling in, he says to me, he's like, yo, I'm about to get some smoke, do you have any more wraps? And I'm like, yeah, but what are you going to, what do you mean? Where are we going to grab? Cody's not around. Cody at the time, his brother was the plug, okay? If his brother was not around, it was a big deal. If his brother was out, we're struggling, yo. We're venturing out to get high. So, like, these last couple blunts I brought to smoke with Zach were real love, yo, because I couldn't get any more, okay? That was it back then. And Zach's telling me, he's like, yeah, like, you know, I can go into this smoke shop and get us some shit to smoke. So, like, if you want anything for a good price, like, just let me know. And I'm confused because, to be fair, Zach always says whenever we go to the smoke shop, he'd be like, yo, I know the guys in here. I'm good with them. And whenever we go in the shop with him, he'd always dap them up. They'd be speaking a foreign language I didn't understand. You know, I'm not sure what it was. And they seemed to get along just great. So I believed him on this, but I'm also sitting there and I'm like, what do you mean? Like, you're just going to walk in the smoke shop and get some weed? This is a foreign concept to me at this point. You know, now these smoke shops are so open about it, dude. You could walk into the smoke shop and get marshmallow fucking coochie juice breath. And like, it's just normal, and it's like $30, you know? It'll be right there on the shelf. You don't have to look at the guy a certain way. You don't got to lean on the counter and, like, try to dress in a way that doesn't make you look federal, you know? You don't need some Amiris to fit in. Like, it's just right there on the shelf, man. So, like, back in these, you know, back when I was in high school, I make it sound like I'm so goddamn old, bro. This is like 2016. Back when I was in high school, that wasn't really a thing, though. Like, these smoke shops weren't as brazen with it, but Zach is saying he could just walk in and get some pack. And I'm like, okay, like, well, I don't want any right now. You know, I think I'm just going to wait for Cody's brother. But, like, if that's what you want to get, you know, I'll try it. You know, I'll smoke some. I'd love to have another plug. That's great. So he's like, bet, yeah, don't worry about it, bro. I'll get some wraps, too. Like, I'll come out. You need an extra lighter or anything? Dude, he's talking to me like he owns this fucking smoke shop. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, yo, like, who'd you jack off? Like, why is he talking to me like this? And normally we go to the smoke shop and like it's nothing like this, but now he's tapped in. He's flexing his muscle in this parking lot. So I'm like, nah, I'm straight. You go do your thing, right? So he's like, okay, well, like, come with me anyways. I'll introduce you. So I go inside, right? We both walk inside. And he walks in, and the dude behind the counter instantly gets up. You know, like, you can tell that Zach and this dude recognize each other. They had that kind of bond, you know? They had that real smoke shop owner bond, okay? Zach was not a smoke shop owner, but, like, I don't know, family ties or something, dude. They were speaking a different language. I don't know what was happening. So, like, either way, we walk in this bitch. Zach goes straight behind the counter, and he introduces me. He's like, oh, like, this is my friend Nick. I shake this guy's hand. I'm like, oh, hi, like, I'm Nick. And he's like, oh, hello, my friend. Like, welcome to my shop. You know, pleasure to meet you, yada, yada, yada. And immediately, they whisper something to each other and go in back and just leave my ass out front. I'm not invited in back. And they make that very clear with the body language, okay? They go in back. Then the owner dude, he, like, comes back up to the front. He, like, clearly closes the curtain and fucking mugs me. Like, he made eye contact with me. Like, he shot me a look that clearly told me, this is not your business. I'm like, okay, bet. I start looking around all on the shelves because there's nobody else in the front of this shop. And I'm looking around, and I'm like, huh, like, this must be some real low-key shit, bro. Like, there's no weed anywhere on the shelves, none of that shit. But what this smoke shop did have a lot of was they had little whippets, right? And this was back when, like, it was the OG canisters. Now they have these flavored shits. This was just, like, normal, like, nitrous canisters. I think, I don't remember what brand they were or anything, but they had all the like fringe smoke shop stuff, right? So these guys had like the OG Kratom, back when like not many smoke shops had Kratom, and you'd see it and be like, what is that, you know? And they also had the little Scooby snacks and the synthetic shit. Now listen, there was a time when I was younger and in high school where you could literally walk into a Shell gas station, like a name brand gas station, and just buy K2. And it was normal. It was completely unregulated, and nobody enforced it. It blew my mind. It's very similar to what the spray pack situation is nowadays, and that's kind of what inspired me to tell this story and make this video, because there's a lot of parallels to the situation now with all the sprayed weed and the foo-foo bullshit smoke that you can go buy out of a smoke shop right now, right? Not saying all smoke shops do that. There's a lot of great shops out there, but like, a lot of them are bad, dude. Let's be real here, okay? A lot of them are sketchy. And this one that we were at today that just said tobacco over the door was no goddamn exception. So Zach's back there for so goddamn long that they start ripping the fucking hookah. I start getting that menthol smell, and I can tell it starts getting a little smoky in the store. And I'm like, yo, there's no way that he's just left me in front to fucking rip the hookah and just stand here and look at shit on the shelf that I can't afford because I had like $15 to my name at this point. I'm sitting there and I'm like, yo, this is fucked up. You know, once again, though, I'm not going to intervene. Not my business. I just walked right out of the store and I went back to my car and I sat down. I'm like, you know what, Zach? Do your thing, bro. Like, get to cooking. Do whatever you got to do. I walk back out. I chill in my car. I don't know how fucking long goes by, but like 20 minutes, 30 minutes later, this motherfucker walks back out and he's just got a Ziploc bag. And in it looks like he's just got some shake. And I'm like, all right, dude, you did all that for shake? Like, you, my boy, we could have gone anywhere. We could have gone to any plug, bro. We probably could have just scraped up our carpets. Like, we could have gone anywhere for this fucking shake, man. And there's nothing wrong with shake. But this dude went on an exotic mission for fucking shake. So listen, I'm not going to lie, I was a little irritated at this point. I just wanted to get high. You know, once again, I wasn't irritated because I felt like he owed me a smoke or like owed me weed or anything. I was more so irritated because this guy really gassed it up. He was really like, yo, I know the plug. He works at the smoke shop that fucking smells funny and is poorly lit. And I was like, bet, dude, that sounds all like, let's go tap in with that fucking dude. And I walked out with shake, you know? And I thought that all it was shake. And I was like, bet, you know, that's okay. I can work with that. That sounds good, you know? Shake, I mean, we could pack a little bowl. You know, we can still roll a blunt with shake. That's okay. We just need a little nug plug for the end. No problem. What I didn't realize, and what Zach didn't realize either, is that this was not shake. I'm 99.999% certain that this shit was K2. Listen up. So we dip out of this smoke shop. He's got the Ziploc bag. I'm like, bet, you know, you got some wraps too? He's like, yeah. No problem. I also had some extra wraps, if I remember correctly. I think we both had wraps. I do remember, like, we had more wraps than we could roll up with. We rolled up everything. There was nothing left to smoke by the time we were done, right? So we rolled up everything we had. You know, we pulled off from the smoke shop, went and rolled up. And I'm excited. I'm like, bet, you know, we're going to get high. We had a couple fat doinks. Seemed like he walked out with a pretty fat bag of this shit. So I was like, bet. And while I was rolling, you know, I didn't really smell the weed or anything. This is the point in my life where, like, I was just smoking mid. There was, like, I was not smoking anything compared to the stuff that your average consumer, you know, your average stoner smokes nowadays, bro. Nowadays, the weed is so good, bro. Like, you can just go to the dispensary and just get good-ass weed. Or, like, your average plug just has way better weed now than they needed to have back in the day. That's the one good thing about legal weed in dispensaries. It makes the plug keep up a little bit, right? There's some sort of quality control. Dispo weed is still usually mid, though, but hey, that's another video topic. So, either way, I was used to smoking absolute boofington, dude. Like, I'm not going to lie. If I watched a tweaker piss on a bag like an eighth back then, I still would have picked that bitch up and ripped it, you know? Like, 100%. I did what I had to do to get high when I was younger. So, I didn't ask any questions about why it didn't really smell right or why when I was licking the blunt and I got a little bit on my tongue, it stung my tongue a little bit. I didn't really ask much about why it seemed to, it almost felt acidic on the end of my tongue. It was like, oh God, you know, like my tongue, oh, it's melting. You know, that's not what I signed up for when I wanted to roll this blunt. But either way, you know, I didn't really ask too many questions about any of that. I just sparked the fucking blunt. Now, listen, I don't really have any clue what this actually was. I mean, my most educated guess is it was one of those artificial, like, Scooby Snacks K2 smokable shit bags that they had in the store that they just sold him outside of the packaging. But I don't really actually know. I have no clue. And I never will know. What I am pretty certain about here is it was not weed, because we sparked this blunt and we smoked it. And the first, like, 5 minutes or so, I mean, we smoked a good chunk of this blunt. We smoked, I'd say we got 3/4 of the way through it before I felt anything. And I was like bone sober, taking hit after hit, which was weird because normally, I you know, no matter what kind of weed I'm smoking, whether I like it or not, if I take a couple hits of a blunt, I might not feel high, but I'm going to feel something. I'm going to feel a little different, you know? Like, you instantly notice it when the THC just hits you. It's like, wait, I just ingested some smoke, you know? You feel that instantly. And I wasn't getting that at all as I was hitting this blunt. So I was like, okay, something's a little weird here. Maybe this is some real fucking Reggie Bush, some real Reggington, and that's okay as well. You know, it is what it is. I kind of wish it was Reggie. It was not. It was worse than that. Fate, much worse than smoking Reggie, is smoking synthetic shit. And all of a sudden, I remember I just got this crazy fucking feeling. This almost like, I just felt like I was about to vomit, like puke my own fucking organs up. The craziest, nauseous, like almost throat punch out of nowhere. And then I just got this head rush and I felt really tingly and I felt really fucking loose. And I remember I was like, I was tweaking. It felt like I did a giant line of coke first thing in the morning that was just way too big for my own good. And it was the purest shit I'd ever done. Like, I was so wired. But I think part of that was a bit of anxiety in me because I didn't know what the fuck was happening to me. I knew it wasn't weed. This was a feeling that I never felt before. But it was extremely uncomfortable. And I had smoked synthetics multiple times before. Even the times that I knew that it was synthetic weed going into it, where I still willingly smoked it, it didn't feel like this. So my best guess is this shit was some sort of research chemical. I don't know, but holy fuck. I was tweaking. I remember I instantly just opened the door of my car. My homie Zach was like, oh, like, you good, bro? And I just opened the door of my car and got out. Zach got out too. He still didn't really notice that I was kind of tripping at all. And he just came around to my side of the car and just fucking, was smoking with me. Like, he just posted up. We're passing the blunt between each other. And mind you, I'm feeling like this. And I'm still hitting this blunt. I'm trying so hard to hold it together. I felt almost like how that guy in the Airhead commercial must feel when his head fucking blows up. So I'm standing out here. I'm starting to cold sweat a little bit, do the shindig in this parking lot. I'm kind of tweaking, dude. I'm not going to lie. And my homie Zach is just completely chill. Like, he's normal. He's smoking this shit, no problem. And I look at him and I'm like, bro, like, you don't fucking feel like this right now? And he's looking at me and he's like, no. And he's like, what do you feel like? And I'm telling him and he's like, oh, yeah, like, I kind of got, really fucking high when I first smoked this shit. But now, I just got a tolerance, like this shit is gas, this strain is fire. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, bro, how long have you been smoking this shit? And he tells me, he's like, oh, I've been grabbing off these guys for a few months now, every here and there. I don't smoke it that much because it gets me fried. And I'm thinking to myself, even back then, like, I was a dumbass. I smoked a lot of shit willingly. And mind you, I was feeling like this and feeling like shit and kind of terrified and still hitting the blunt. Like, I didn't stop, dude. I didn't tap out, okay? I was not a pussy. I was still hitting this blunt. So I'm feeling like this, and I'm like, yo, like, you've been smoking this shit for how long? And he tells me a few months, and I'm like, dude, I don't think this is weed. Like, there's just no way this is weed. And he's like, damn, bro, like, I think I just got vet lungs or some shit. Like, he just would not accept the possibility that this shit was not supposed to be smoked, that it was not weed. Like, he was just, damn, I'm a real smoker. I can tolerate this shake. Not even my homie Nick can tolerate this shake. That's what's going through this guy's head right now. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, dude, this shit is fucked. Like, we're smoking Afghani research chemicals that are not from a real lab. Like, yo, it was bad. So I'm sitting there, I'm tweaking out. We had 2 blunts rolled up. This motherfucker sparks the next one. Now, he's smoking this shit. He passed it to me. I'm not going to lie. I had like an instant tolerance to it. I have no idea what this was, but it was weird because it was like the first couple hits, like the first maybe 5 minutes of smoking, 10 minutes of smoking, hit me like a truck all at once. And then I didn't really get any higher after that. It didn't progress the more hits I took. I was just smoking. It was like I was inhaling air after that. It was so strange. It was like a light switch just flipped, like on, I'm high, I'm tweaking, off. No more, It was so weird. So I smoked this shit, right? And we finished this whole blunt. Like, we're just posted up in this parking lot. And there's this little, like apartment complex. It wasn't really like normal apartments, though. They were nice. Like, they were kind of like condos more so. It was like 3 stories. But either way, it was nice. They had a little, like, man-made lake in that bitch. Personal dumpsters and garbage. It was great. It was a nice fucking spot. But either way, we were in this parking lot just smoking up, right? Just vibing, finishing that second blunt. And, like, oh my God. This was such a weird high. And I just chalked it up to like a weird high. I never looked back at it and really reflected upon it. But like now it's like, yeah, dude, wow. Add that to the list of things that's going to contribute to my inevitable lung cancer diagnosis one day. It's got to have. Dude, I've smoked spray. We've smoked numerous smoke shop mystery packs, okay? Like, I don't know, man. I've smoked crack. It's got to, I mean, man, something's brewing inside of me. It's coming, guys. But either way, so we finished the second blunt. I just got in my car and fucking drove Zach home. I was tweaking, but it was strange because this was like a quick acting sativa. I was tweaking for like 30, 45 minutes. Then all of a sudden, like I said earlier, light switch flipped. And I'm just, whoop, 2 seconds, you know? All of a sudden from high, kind of feeling lightheaded, feeling really airy, you know? I was kind of zoning out unintentionally, and it was really weird. All of a sudden, just locked in, sober. Ask me a math problem right now. Pythagorean theorem. I'll fucking spit it, you know? I don't even know that off top right now, you know? And I smoked real weed. But either way, I went and dropped Zach off, and I drove home. And this was not the final time that Zach smoked that shit. Like, I don't want you guys to, and finish watching this video and think like, oh, wow, Zach probably saw his friend tweak and learned a lesson. No, bro. He kept smoking this shit. He kept going. He would post it, bro. He'd be like, yo, I'm tapped in with the smoke. Like, he would flex it. He'd be in the back of the smoke shop ripping the hookah, and he'd fucking post it sometimes, or he'd post him, like, in the back on the table, and they'd have, like, some money out. Bro, oh, my... Listen, all right? All I'm going to say is moral of the story here. Oh, God. If it's a mystery bag, don't smoke it. Ask some questions, all right? I guess that's the moral of the story. I don't even know if this one has a moral. I just wanted to share. And that's okay sometimes. It's kind of like porn. There's not a moral in that. They just share that, for anyone to consume. All right, well, either way. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Drop a like if you did. Shout out to 5. Check them out. Have a good one. Deuces.